So as I was strolling past some of the booths here at Computex, a couple cases over at the Rajentech booth caught my eye. I was expecting to see maybe a new Threadripper CPU cooler or something like that, seeing as that has been the trend, but instead I was greeted with two tempered glass small form factor mini ITX cases. These are the new Ophion and Ophion Evo. Now, whether that's Ophion or Ophion is yet to be clarified, but one thing is for sure, and that's that these cases are pretty neat and compact. Before that though, a quick word from MSI for making this trip possible. Thinking of upgrading your gaming monitor? MSI Optix MPG curved gaming monitors come packed with a 144Hz refresh rate, 1800R curvature, and up to a 1440p resolution. And for a limited time, include a free SteelSeries Prism RGB mousepad and Steam Wallet gift card with every purchase in selected countries. See the link in the description to upgrade your game with MSI. Okay, so the smaller case, the Ophion, is just 12.1 liters in volume and is said to be released soon for just $115 US, and the larger Ophion Evo is just 15.9 liters in volume, adds 240mm radiator support, and will be released for around $130. Both the cases have an aluminium construction with a brushed finish, as you can see here. Dust filters come included at the top for both as well, which is great to see. That's definitely important, as well as both cases support fans at the top. And Rajentech said that you can choose between both a tempered glass version and a standard perforated panel version, which I'm guessing may be a little bit cheaper. In a market where everything is way too big and where most companies are essentially copying each other, it's great to see Rajentech be bold and move into the small form factor market, which desperately needs attention on the budget end. The fact that both of these cases are relatively optimized in terms of space to what we're used to seeing, and they're both at an affordable price range, is definitely pleasing to see. Okay, onto the specs and compatibility now, and let's start with the 12.1 liter Ophion on the left. In terms of CPU cooler height, Rajentech said that they were using one of their 66mm tall coolers, and by the looks of it, it did have a few millimeters of clearance left, so the official measurement is more like 68 or 70. Both cases use the same sandwich design that we've seen from more expensive cases like the Dan A4, and this of course requires a riser cable, and Rajentech confirmed that this will be included for both the cases. Another pleasing feature for a lot of you will be the inclusion of that Type-C port in addition to your standard USB 3, and that Type-C definitely seems to be a make or break feature for some consumers these days, and at the very least it's a great consideration by Rajentech for some future proofing. Both the Ophion and the Ophion Evo support up to a 2-slot graphics card with a length of 330mm, and in both cases they were showing off what looks like a GTX 1080 Asus Strix, which is by no means a small card. Of course though, being pushed so close to the side panel does have its implications when it comes to cooling, so a blower style card may be recommended. Now, the tempered glass side panels are pretty much entirely flush with the rest of the case, which means that if you are going to be using them, airflow is going to be pretty tight, at least in the smaller Ophion. As I said before though, you can mount two 120mm fans at the top and run those in exhaust, and that could potentially give you some pretty good results. Both also support a full ATX power supply, which I thought was pretty cool.
And is that ATX power supply?
Yes.
Full ATX?
Yes.
What about the other one? Is that only SFX or?
Actually, you can also ATX.
ATX in that one as well?
You're very tight, but ATX is compatible inside.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah.
For storage, it looks like there's support for two 2.5-inch drives as written on the product briefing for both the Ophion and Ophion Evo, and those slots will be likely towards the front of the case. Now, stepping up to the Ophion Evo, this case is exactly the same length and width as the regular Ophion, but adds 70mm in height to allow for a 240mm radiator. This is absolutely awesome, and especially in a relatively affordable package. This way you could run a power-hungry CPU like a Ryzen 7 2700 or an i7 8700K, and cooling that should be no issue with a 240mm radiator and a pair of good fans. With the Ophion Evo though, you can also fit a 120mm fan in the bottom of the case, allowing for direct cooling over the motherboard VRMs, since the motherboard is in an upside down configuration. So VRM cooling is always a consideration and topic of discussion in these small cases, which usually relies on passive airflow, but if you're running a power hungry system that needs to be compact, then the Ophion Evo could just be what you're after, and whether this direct VRM cooling was on accident or on purpose, well, it's definitely great to see. So these are two cases that I was very pleased to see on the show floor this afternoon, and I know a few of you guys will appreciate them as well. Official release date is unconfirmed at this point, but it does look like we could see these two cases hitting the shelves quite soon. I'd love to know what you guys think of these two, so drop your comments down below. As always guys, a huge thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.